Electric vans, even electric people carriers, are nothing new. And yet the buzz, if you'll excuse the pun, around this new Volkswagen is something else. Available initially both as a passenger vehicle and as a cargo panel van, the ID Buzz has the potential to seriously disrupt and totally alter what we expect from a commercial vehicle. But first, would you just look at it? From some angles, the ID3 and the ID4 look a little bit awkward. It's almost as if Volkswagen designed the ID Buzz, gave it the face, and made that face fit all the other models. It just works, especially with this two-tone paint. There's more than a hint of the old Type 2 bus to the design, and in contrast to modern EVs, which are getting bigger and heavier, the ID Buzz, it feels small, it feels compact, or at least it does on the outside. In here, well, it's huge, it's even bigger than you might expect. And that's before we even take a seat in the back. Just you wait until we have a look in the rear. But first, let's get a feel for what this Buzz is like to drive. You get the same basic ingredients as you do on a top spec ID3 or an ID4. So you get a 77 kilowatt hour battery and a 201 brake horsepower rear mounted motor. But this thing being a bit heavier, well, it certainly doesn't feel that quick. You still get that instant hit when you put your foot down, but 0-62 takes 10.2 seconds. So it's not quick in the scheme of new EVs, but it casts a bit of shade on, well, this car's van-based rivals. As it does when it comes to the driving experience, it's really refined. We're doing nearly 60 miles an hour and there are no rattles and shakes, there's very little wind noise, even very little road noise from 20 and 21 inch wheels. While the battery and motor tech is identical to what you'll find in other ID models, the Buzz will charge faster. The ID4 currently tops out at 135 kilowatts, but the Buzz ups that to 170 kilowatts. Volkswagen claims a 5 to 80% charge in around half an hour, whilst the home wheel box will do the same job in around 11 hours. Maximum range, according to the WLTP test, is 258 miles. Visibility is good, thankfully, so it's no more daunting to drive than, say, an ID4. You do have to get used to that flat front end, and the rear window, well, it feels like an awfully long way back, but knowing the wheels are right out in the corners does make this thing much easier to drive. The ride is really impressive as well. We found some rougher surfaces around town here in Denmark, and the suspension and the chassis just seem to soak them all up. It finds a really nice rhythm and a really nice flow at higher speeds as well. And while it might seem of little consequence or little significance to van drivers, it's actually really fun to drive as well. That rear wheel drive setup and the fact that the centre of gravity is so low means it's agile and it's fun to drive. All this might sound too good to be true, but there's no avoiding the fact that you'll pay for the privilege. Prices for the Buzz People Mover start at £57,115. Now, while that might sound like a lot, many wouldn't blink spending that on an electric SUV. A BMW iX3 is a couple of £1,000s more, for example. For your money, you get 19-inch wheels, a 10-inch infotainment display with navigation, plus Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, as well as a reversing camera, heated seats and a heated steering wheel. Top spec models get bigger wheels, matrix lights and a powered tailgate. VW claims sustainability is a core part of the new Buzz. There's no leather inside and a number of the fabrics are made from recovered ocean plastics and recycled bottles. The maker says it will take back the batteries at the end of their life as well, before recycling them and preparing them for second use, as energy storage for example. I promised you space, and space we have got back here. It's here in the back and in the boot as well, where this car's van shape really makes itself known. I've got loads of knee room, loads of headroom. It isn't without its issues though. There are not 3 individual seats like you might expect. There are only Isofix on the outer 2 chairs. These do move forwards and backwards, however, and you can recline them as well. One thing that also is a little bit annoying is that these side windows are fixed. They don't open, not even kind of forwards and backwards like you get in the current T6 van. In terms of other practical features, you've got some tray tables on the backs of the seats, you've got some pockets up here and some door bins. There are no vents for the rear air conditioning, so you're going to have to rely on the guys in the front setting the right temperature. But overall, it's just really big and spacious back here. Definitely advantages to having such a huge van shape. Let's take a look at the boot. Back here, well, this space is absolutely huge, and a bonus is how big and square this opening is, so it's going to be really easy to throw things in and out. This divider here is optional, but it does give you somewhere to store the charge cables, and an extra feature to that as well, which I'll show you in a moment, is it gives you a completely flat floor all the way to the front seats. Overall, you've got 1,121 litres back here, which is, well, it's absolutely massive, isn't it? So I'm just going to go and fold down the seats, bear with me. Once you've done that, you've got over 2,000 litres, and if I pull this out, look at that space. But if you want an ID Buzz as a workhorse, VW has you covered. Also available as a cargo panel van, it gets the same battery and electric motor and a similar 250-odd mile range. It's perhaps not quite as practical as a diesel Volkswagen Transporter in terms of sheer size, but it'll still carry 2 Euro pallets and up to 607 kilos. The one area where the cargo feels quite different from the minibus is when it comes to interior quality. The bus feels built to a reasonable standard, but the van definitely cuts some corners and feels more like the commercial vehicle that it is. It'll be harder wearing for sure, just don't expect the same levels of luxury. This is the step change for big, electric, practical people movers that large families have been waiting for. Sure, there's room for improvement. An extra couple of seats in the back would be a good place to start, but we know that kind of stuff will come in time. There was a risk with the ID Buzz that it was just going to be a retro remake, style over substance, but in reality, it is so much more than that. Head to DrivingElectric.com for all the latest electric and hybrid car advice, news and reviews, and check us out on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. Finally, while you're here, make sure you hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel and turn on notifications to ensure you never miss a video.